Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, episode 246. Almost had to burp there. Whew. Alright, since I didn't burp, let's keep going. Brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. magicman, and we've got news, albeit very small news. Obviously, we haven't done a free-to-play cast in a couple of weeks because, the holidays came and shit goes on during the holidays as far as gaming news goes. So we're going to jam a bunch of smaller things together. If you're looking for things like Elsword's update and some other stuff like that, head on over to the site to get all that news. We're going to cover the bigger of the smaller news that fell out in the last week or so. And then we're going to go and wrap up the year. 'Tis that time. We're filming this right between Christmas on December 28th. You're watching it on the 29th. So right in between Christmas and New Year's. For those of you that celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, any other holidays, whatever you want. Have a great time. We hope you had a safe one. And if your holiday of choice is coming up, we hope you continue to have a safe one there. So let's get started by introducing the panel, Mr. Jason Winter, Mr. Potato Peeler himself. How are you, sir?
That's what I was going to say. I got a potato peeler for Christmas, and it's awesome.
That is, hey, the first thing I asked how Christmas was, he said, I got a potato peeler. The first thing I said was, did you want a potato peeler?
Right.
And he said, yes. And okay, then congrats on your potato peeler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also on the line, you heard him, Mr. Troy Blackburn. What's up, Noob Fridge?
You know, when I want a potato peeler, I just go to the store and get one when I need it. I'm not sure about waiting till Christmas to get a potato peeler, but good for you, brother. Good for you.
What would you get for Christmas, sir?
I got some Steam cards and some pants from my mother for some reason. I guess pants. Right, one pair of pants. Thanks, Mom. We got to go to Garth Brooks in Nashville, though, on his last night on tour. So that was for my mother as well. So that made up for the pants. So I'm not sure what the pants were about, considering she sent me to Garth Brooks. So.
Everybody knows you except your mother, apparently. Everybody was like, get him a Steam card, get him a Steam card. I'm getting him pants. Mom.
Do you guys have the same problem where it's so hard to get people to accept that a Steam card is an acceptable gift?
Actually, yeah. Now
please give me Steam cards. Quit trying to go to Lowe's and get me like some random tool that I don't actually need. Just give me a Steam card.
Yeah, and that happens not typically with me, because most people know just get him something video game related. He'll give you a hug. But with the kids, I have two teenage sons, 16 and 13, and they have, my brothers. I have two brothers, so their uncles, their grandmother, on not just my side, but more so on my wife's side of the family, her mother. It's always, what should we get the boys? What should we get the boys? Just get them Steam gift cards, Mom. You just get them Steam gift cards. Get it over with. They will use them that day. They will not even make it to the day after Christmas.
Do you realize during Christmas how many games I can buy with a $20 Steam gift card?
Right.
The sales are incredible.
Right, with the winter sale right there. Anyway, yes, so I know what you're talking about, but let's get started and cover some of the news before we wrap up our year with the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2017, and what we're looking forward to in 2018. All right, so first up, I figured we go to Guild Wars 2 first. Guild Wars 2, predominantly quiet throughout the year. I mean, they had Path of Fire and the Living World updates on that, and then kind of like shit the bed in the last quarter and really just brought a ton of bad publicity on themselves with a number of missteps, a lack of communication and things. And so now ArenaNet pulling, what EA did, what Bungie's doing, what all these other companies seem to all be doing right now. How tone deaf do you have to be right now to pull some of these things? They're pushing out the old, hey, sorry, we're going to communicate better. We want to communicate more. We want to get your feedback more, as if they weren't already getting it in droves. And so they want to do it's kind of their take on a Reddit AMA, a Reddit Ask Me Anything. They want to move it to their forums. Granted, probably less users, so maybe that's maybe that's a reason. That
they can restrict and ban you however they want.
Right?
So, yeah.
You know, having a little more control over this. We're already getting to the dubious skepticism on the panel here before we even introduce it. But they want to take it to their forums, and they want to kind of do a bi-weekly thing where they create a thread with a particular topic and or a particular host or team answering questions in real time on said topic. They'll even take suggestions on what topic or what team should be next up. They've started this already on the forums to kind of get a bead on who do you want to hear from first. That's what's up right now, and they're going to move this into the 2018, kind of doing it every other week is their plan. I don't see any way that they stay with that plan. Bi-weekly is a pretty tough schedule when you're talking about rotating specific teams in and out of, unless you dictate for a long period of time what the content is. And, okay, you guys are more Guild Wars fans than I am, but I kind of looked at this as they're saying the exact same things a lot of these other companies are that got their hands caught in cookie jars and are now getting hands severed instead of just bitten by the gaming community at this point. Communications, it's like brand new, right? The end of 2017, all of a sudden, companies were like, oh, we should communicate. No. So I just kind of see this as we stepped on a bunch of things. We're going to try and put some goodwill out there. I would be surprised if these went anywhere, like changed things that are already in development and working on and stuff. I would be shocked. I just can't see it personally as anything more than an attempt to appease an audience. And maybe that's cynical, but let's get your guys' take on it as Guild Wars 2 fans, starting with you, Jason.
Yeah, I'm pretty cynical too. You pretty much hit on all the points that I was going to hit on. It's like you said, I mean, they can go in there and they can ask people for their feedback, but if people say, first of all, they're not going to talk about their monetization. Probably any point. They're not going to come in and say, hey, we're thinking about doing lockbox mounts. What do you guys think? No, they're not going to do that because they know they'll get absolutely hammered on it. So they'll come in and say, hey, what do you guys think about class balance for necromancers or something like that? Maybe a little bit of that will get handled and be, go back and forth, get input, that sort of thing. But I just can't see this really hitting on those major topics that are the things that, like you said, companies really, really step in and have issues with. I think back to, I want to say SOE actually had something like this, back when they were SOEs, Sony Online Entertainment. Like when they were going to put in, I think, implants for PlanetSide 2, they did do that. They went on the forums or wherever they were, and they said, hey, we're thinking about doing this like this. People came back and said, no, we hate that. Don't do it like that. So they went back to the drawing board and redid it in a certain way that was a little more acceptable to people. But I just don't see most companies, ArenaNet included, going in and say, hey, we're thinking about doing this mechanic for the game. What do you guys think? Partially because they don't know they're going to get what kind of response they're going to get. And they've always been really, really secretive about their plans, about their development plans. Right. They've not been the type of people to do, big roadmaps that explain everything because they don't do that until when it's ready.
Right, as is evidenced by we're doing an expansion, it launches in 2 months.
Yeah, basically. Which to some degree I get, but if you're going to do major changes like that, especially, as I always said, if you're going to change how people spend their money, you got to be right on with it. Yeah. And they're probably not going to do that with this case or with any of their future things, so...
And arguably, that's the biggest community topic within Guild Wars right now is some of the monetization schemes they've tried in the last quarter. Troy, your take.
Oh, man, I get to be cynical old man number 3, I guess. Probably the first one isn't going to be anything that any of the players really want to talk about or ask questions about. When we do get to that point, some of the bigger topics that are just out there right now, you don't need an AMA on the forums, as Mike, as you sort of touched on, to get some of the bigger points. Guilds, that they want more diversity, they want more function in that. New guild missions, SPVP is not in a great place. WVW, those players are wanting some attention right now. Build templates. Oh my God, when the UI team finally comes around and ArenaNet completely ignores the build templates question yet again. That's going to be the biggest thing, right? The first time you get something that the players actually want to ask questions about and talk about and know about, and they just skirt and ignore like they always have and not really address the questions and concerns, then it just comes to realization, what was the point of all this? And it was just to maybe appease some folks and be like, oh, we're listening. We're Bungie, who that's become a meme now. Oh, we're listening to our player base. No, you're not, Destiny, with your little icon on people's games dashboards on the PlayStation now, where it looks like you own the game, but it's actually an advertisement in with all the games you actually own. Yeah, this is not going anywhere. I'm sorry. It's great. It sounds great that they want to communicate, but that's not actually what we're getting here. It's really not. And like both of you guys said, the biggest issue, they're not going to talk monetization at all. Not one time. Yeah. Good luck. If you even bring that question up on those forums, that's probably the first ban gone right there.
And there's a lot of positivity in the post from the player base. And hey, if I was a huge Guild Wars 2 player, I'd probably be on it like this too, saying this is great, this is a great step in the right direction. I am sure, as I've seen different topics on the Guild Wars 2 forums go from time to time, that if ArenaNet doesn't do what the players expect of this type of communication, be open and transparent. You can't say we want to be more open and transparent, get everybody saying, all right, that's great, we're with you, like they are on the forums right now, and then not back that up. And I just don't see a way that they're going to be able to back this up in a way that's going to be meaningful. And we're already seeing in these posts some of the same things that we're talking about from Guild Wars 2 players. The first being, why on earth would you take this away from the Reddit if you're going to do an AMA type thing? Because just the tech behind a forum post and the way Reddit is structured, you could go to Reddit and find a game developer's answer to questions, all of them on an AMA within 5 seconds and 2 clicks. You can't necessarily do that in some forums. Now, some will let you go and find most recent post by this person, but you can't get the context like you can on Reddit. It just seems like Reddit is better for this. Why move it when you've already done it before? And I want to read this post in particular. From where was it? Where? Oh, come on, man. I scrolled down a little too far. Now I can't find the damn thing. It was a great post on the topic, the actual forum topic, where they were requesting. Here it is from Endalon 1042. Is the amount of moderation going to be toned down at all for these kinds of AMA forum threads? There's a reason the Guild Wars 2 subreddit and other fan sites became so popular for game discussion, and it's super easy to get infractions for even the slightest things on here. I can't imagine official forum AMA threads being able to get the same kinds of questions and comments as what's allowed to get voted up by the player base on Reddit. Huge, great point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, 90% of this is about having that kind of control on the forums as opposed to the Wild West of the Reddit, which admittedly can get a little nasty sometimes, but I think for the most part, you just either... I think that the Reddit, Reddit moderators are pretty good about getting the really bad stuff, about people just, string of obscenities, that kind of thing, the totally abusive stuff, but... if people are going to be critical and pretty harshly critical of the game or the developers, that's something you kind of have to listen to, especially if you're going to go into it and say, we're going to communicate openly. You have to be ready for that kind of backlash if you really, really do screw up.
Yeah, and we've seen companies put this out there. We want to be transparent, and then they're not, and they pay a price for it. So at the end of the day, Troy, I hope ArenaNet is being sincere in this endeavor. I hope that the players have a... absolute right to be as excited about this type of communication as they seem to be on the initial forum post. I hope sincerely that it pans out for both the players and the devs the way they want it to. I'm just a little cynical on been there, done that, seen it before, and history shows with ArenaNet that this probably just isn't going to go the way players would like it to go.
Yeah, like I said, I'll tune in to the first one, maybe two. But like I said, there are a handful of issues that are the things players want to talk about right now. And the first time that those just get ignored or skirted around, I'm just over it. It's just it would be obvious what they're doing, and they're just trying to build a little good reputation up by just pretending like they're listening. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm like you. Like I hope it is what they say it's going to be, but I very seriously have my doubts.
Moving it to your own forums kind of takes the likelihood of that being the case away from me mentally.
Especially with a forum
too much control.
A reputation to being as heavy-handed as theirs is.
What else? Dark Age of Camelot. What? Dark Age.
Totally relevant.
Yeah, we're going to talk some Dark Age of Camelot here. For those of you that have played DAOC, great. If you haven't, it's going to be introducing a free-to-play-ish option sometime in late 2018, and it was kind of hidden, Jason. They weren't even really like, hey, we're doing this is our big thing for 2018, we're going to get more players, we're going to get a bunch of people in here to play for free, we're going to give you all this stuff to hopefully entice you to want to subscribe to our old ass game to support our player base that has stayed with us forever. No, it was kind of hidden in a producer's letter, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was like, let's see, I'm looking at the letter now. It's about half, well, no, it's more than halfway.
Yeah,
down.
like I sent it to you via link on Skype, and Troy, I was so sure he was not going to have any clue why I was sending this to him that underneath the link, I typed the message, do a control find for the word free.
Yeah, it is about 3/4 of the way down. He says, what is it? To recap, first of all, he's recapping all the stuff he talked about before. We're improving our
Before
VR,
he talks free?
We're improving our VR, tightening up the overall gameplay, adding UX features, all this, more focus on new additions and new focus on improving our existing systems. Wrapping up to what, you ask? Well, we're thrilled to announce a new way for players to experience Dark Age of Camelot's iconic realm versus realm warfare for free. So yeah, then he talks about that a little bit.
It was almost PS'd on the bottom.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, we're doing all this stuff so we can have our free launch in the fall. So, okay. I mean, that's one way to do it.
So
that's actually about all the fanfare it deserves, because they're only, 5 or 6 years behind the curve on the whole free-to-play thing at this point. I mean, they kind of missed that window.
Oh, they're going to be almost another full year before they get done with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is obviously an older game. I remember people playing, trying to get me to play DAOC when I was back playing Final Fantasy XI on the console and just starting to dabble in World of Warcraft myself. But so, okay, yeah, you really better want an older flavor here, gang, if you intend to check this one out. Don't go into it expecting some of the modern conveniences of most MMORPGs, even visually. I mean, it is an older game, and that's not to say there isn't a place for it. I've been known to boot up Final Fantasy XI from time to time and sub for 2 months and play almost daily, so I understand the nostalgia that type of, but if
it's a good opportunity to see if those rose-colored glasses you wear really give you the 2020 vision of the past you think they do.
Well, you have to be careful with this one, because right now, Endless Conquest, that's the name of this feature, by the way, Endless Conquest, those accounts have to be new, so you cannot, if you were a DAOC player back in the day, you can't go into those accounts. They're looking at that to kind of change that, but initially it's just going to be brand new accounts. You can only have one character. Your experience and things are significantly throttled, and there's other limitations all over this, chat, trading, housing, that type of thing. So do check out the FAQ before you get involved in the download. I wasn't a huge DAOC guy, so for me this does nothing. I'll check it out just to see how limiting it is, and I'll only be checking it out in the respect of taking a look at it to see if it's worth doing a first look video, or if it's more of just a free trial. And we wouldn't do a first look of video for World of Warcraft because that's a trial. If this fits that mold, we won't do a first look, and I'll be out of it pretty quickly. Is this going to get you to jump in, Troy?
I've never actually played Dark Age of Camelot, shockingly. That's one of the few classics that I haven't gotten my hands on at some point. So, I mean, yeah, I might be interested in jumping in, but I mean, it sounds like best case scenario, it's an outdated SWTOR where, yeah, you can play, but if you're not paying what's the point? So, I mean, I'll jump in and just so I can say I played Dark Age of Camelot, but that'll probably be about the extent of it. I don't like the old school stuff. I like there's a reason these games have evolved and invented and introduced new features along the way, and I love those new features and improvements that have come over the years. So I'm that guy.
I'm just going to venture a bet here. There's no way in hell Jason's downloading this.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. I might take a look at it. Just because looking at it, it does make me think a little of my old school, like, City of Heroes days, just in that same kind of graphical engine kind of capability. Although, two things. Well, first of all, it says when they talk about the 3 main development goals for the new year, they say, they want to make Realm versus Realm the best experience possible. This means returning RVR's focus to the combat and realm war. Okay, what the hell have you been doing then? If it hasn't been about combat, what the heck has RVR been?
Where did the focus go?
What was it? But the other point I really actually am worried about.
Erotic roleplay.
Erotic roleplay, yeah, right. But the other question, the thing I'd really do worry about, though, is, how, because I got to believe it doesn't have, level scaling, right? Being an older game. If I go in on my level 5 or level 50, people are going to just murder me. If that's the case, then it's not going to be entertaining. I'm not going to sit there and grind out for 100 hours till I get up to par with everyone else. So that part of it will be pretty much a pretty big negative if it turns out like that.
So are you confirming you will check this out?
Yeah, I will check it out to the point of seeing if it's like that. If it's really crappy, I don't stand a chance unless I go for 100 hours kind of thing.
It's a shock to me. Prediction wrong. Failed already. And it's not even the end of the year. Moving on very quickly. I just want to bring up Hawaii Representative Chris Lee again, who is kind of spearheading the loot box controversy, legislation plan, and everything, working with some other states now. And there's no real news on the topic. I just want to say, though, I think it deserves it here. Dude is smart. Dude is smart. Younger guy, obviously playing to a younger crowd, and is doing it so far the right way, and it doesn't come off as patronizing or pandering, or it feels legit. I mean, using YouTube, putting some humor in the videos as far as updates and conversations with other legislators. So again, we don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but I just got to give huge props to the way the guy is handling the situation in not only a professional manner, but catering to that audience that he knows wants to hear this particular image. I'm all shades of impressed, Jason.
What a good politician. It was his audience.
Right?
Yeah, I question whether that one phone call he was on is legit, where he's trying to explain everything to people. But, all right, sure, whatever. Other than that, I'll give him a pass. And, yeah, he's put some entertaining stuff out there. So, we'll see where it goes.
Troy, does it lead anywhere, though?
I tell you where it leads for me, and that's sheer terror. Because, like Jason, I'm not 100% convinced some of those phone conversations were real live happening at the time.
No, I don't think. Come on, that's not what I was implying, and you both know it.
But I have no doubt at all that he's had conversations like that with other folks. We've had Congress members before talk about voting on internet bills and stuff, saying that they honestly don't know how the internet works. They don't understand it. Seriously? And here's going to be the problem. Like, he's pushing for this loot box legislation, but these older folks who don't even know how the freaking internet works aren't going to understand what's going on, and all of a sudden we're going to have this like Mortal Kombat type backlash against the video game industry again. That's where that scares me, thinking just because of a lack of understanding from these folks of what's going on and the things that we want to have looked at versus the let's go completely overboard with it, which is where we could go because these people don't even know how the internet works. So it just scares me. Like I said, those phone conversations themselves weren't real, legitimate, I don't think, at the time. But I have no doubt he's had conversations like that with people. Oh, I sent you an email. It had a link in it. Oh, I don't have a computer. Well, how did you get my email if I didn't have a computer? Well, they print it off and give it to us. You know that shit happens. You just make that up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. Interesting to watch, that's for sure. And I mean, that's one of the defining game issues of 2017, as it turns out.
Look on the bright side. Net neutrality is dead, so we're going to not have video games anyway. So what's the difference?
Oh, man. I can't wait to see that one in court. I can't wait. I can't wait. So speaking of these loot boxes and people just being utterly frickin' tone deaf on the situation. Rift decided it was going to put collected, and some of this is older news, but I'm kind of catching everybody up, but decided they were going to put collected intel in the packs in the market. However, that led to an endgame gear currency being available for cash, so predictable backlash. Took those out pending further feedback review. I feel like I read this from Bungie every day now, by the way.
Oh, dude, every day. I don't know what's going on there, but it's
I have totally stopped.
Out of there.
I loved Destiny 2. To start it, and I'm not going to get into it. We've talked about it before. I don't even play it. I just refuse to at this point. I absolutely refuse to. I'm sick of the just placating, trying to, oh, we stepped in shit. We're going to fix it. No, come on. This shit, all this was on the disc to begin with. You miserable SOBs. So I'm playing Warframe instead, as free-to-play casters now. So anyway, Rift decided, well, we can't be outdone on the loot box front. Especially not by Activision, Blizzard, or EA. No. So they put the collected intel pack. People predictably said, hey, whoa, whoa. So Rift took it out, pending further review. So then they wanted to put a mount crate in there. Okay, fine. People do that. It's a $100 box, and it grants you a random mount when you buy it. All right, fine. I don't think too many people are going to be up in arms over cosmetic mounts. However, people are getting up in arms over the random shit, and this is absolutely the wrong time to add one. So here's the kicker, though, Jason. 40 possible mounts, and whatever mount you get is tradable, introducing cash purchasing into the game's economy in some way, shape, or form, being able to trade these now. So people weren't exactly thrilled, and the argument went back and forth. But that wasn't it. They wanted more of a controversy here. One of the issues with the offering had to do with the mounts being offered had a much lower market value than the $100 that they were asking for this box.
Like, isn't it the way you usually get somebody to buy a loot box? Like, you're only paying like $50 for this loot box, but what are the things you get out of it could be worth $75. No, they're like, pay us $100, and probably the most valuable in the thing in this chest is worth $40 to somebody.
Oh my god!
What the hell?
Yeah, most of the values approximately $40. Fine, put a $100 mount pass on there and let me pick 5 mounts specific. I don't care about stuff like that, but really? Really? And so naturally, player feedback got this one struck down too, Jason. Rift team saying, quote, the Orpheus mount crate has been removed from the Rift store. We listened to feedback, met internally to discuss, and decided to pull it. So all these companies, they're listening now. We listened to, we didn't know you weren't going to like paying $100 for a $40 piece of shit. There are a ton of other great things going on for Fayul, though, and folks seem to be enjoying them. So let's misdirect the conversation to our awesome Christmas event. I can't speak for all the game design requests in this thread, other than to say that Rift Dev is constantly evaluating and reviewing projects. We're all working toward getting things wrapped up before the holiday break. Tryon kindly gives us the days off between Christmas and New Year's, so I wouldn't expect a whole lot of new communication until January.
January 2026.
We were shocked, Jason. You didn't want to spend $60 extra on a $40 mount.
I don't remember if it was this or something else that Rift did. Somewhat which aspect of this, but one of the things they said was, we'd like to try new things occasionally. We're just experimenting. Yeah, you're experimenting with seeing how far you can push, how much blood you can squeeze from the stone before the stone yells back at you. That's what other companies did the same sort of thing too. It's like we're trying a different approach. Lotro did that when they had the cash shop stuff, the like raid armor on the store on their test server. We're just experimenting. We're just seeing how this goes. And yeah, if everybody tries to burn down the company, then I guess we'll pull it back. Otherwise, though, yeah, give us your money. Come on.
I'm convinced all these companies at this point. I mean, my God, what kind of stupid decision was this? How tone deaf do you have to? We keep using the word tone deaf for like weeks now. Tone deaf, tone deaf, tone deaf. How can you not be paying attention to what's going on in the world around you, especially in the gaming sphere? But I'm convinced that these companies are thinking that eventually there's going to be consumer fatigue in the fight back of all this. And eventually we're going to shut up, and maybe we're going to be the company that gets lucky and throws that $100 loot box out there, and the players are just going to get tired of complaining about it, and they're just going to buy it. Guess what, motherfuckers? Go to hell.
Yeah, and there's a certain validity to that argument, right? And Jason and I and Troy, all three of us have been covering this shit for a decade now. If you total up our time at various sites. So we've seen it before, big controversies that just get drawn out so long, and EA already has put their loot crates back into Star Wars. They did have to up some credit gains in the game and stuff, but they got what they wanted at the end of the day, and there's not as much buzz about it. I think the gamer fatigue argument on this one, though, takes a little bit of a hit. Only because when you talk about specific games, when that fatigue sets in, you go to a different game. This isn't generally of, all right, we're just going to sit back and accept it. It's just, you know what? I'm sick of all the shit Rift is pulling. I don't want to be involved in this stuff anymore. I'm going to go play something else and put my time and money into there. So I'm hopeful that the fatigue does not set in on this topic. Hell, Apple, Jason, just made a change to some of their app policies, which I'll let you discuss here in a second, because I think that's apropos to the discussion. I hope the fatigue doesn't set in, Troy. And if it does, I hope it's an apathy on fuck your game and go somewhere else. Jason, we'll go to you, because I know the Apple thing was something you'd brought up.
I think that it's a sign of desperation, I think, for a lot of companies. So, we go on about how there's 10,000, 15,000 new games released on Steam every year, and how there are a bunch of different MOBAs, card games, RPGs, whatever out there, that they're all just trying to get that piece of a pie that's just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So they're all having to, like I said, squeeze blood from a stone to try and keep their thing relevant. And I don't know if it's going to happen next year or the year after, but I think there are going to be a lot of big name shutdowns. They're going to come in a bunch whenever it happens. So I don't know. Mark that as my semi-prediction for whenever. But yeah, if you talk about the App Store thing, what they did is they said that they updated their policies that say now that any game that offers basically a loot box, any randomized package for cash, has to disclose their odds on what the odds are of getting various items. Now that's it. It says that in one sentence. It doesn't get into detail about when existing games have to make this known,
or enforcement if you think they're not playing by those odds.
And what exactly do you mean by odds? Like for a case of Hearthstone, is it per rare? Or is it per individual card? Is it how do you have to express that? It has to be expressed in the app. It says, but okay, where in the app, or where? If it's line 8,304 on the EULA, is it going to be that big of a deal? So I just have to be in the cash shop, whatever. So I don't know, but yeah, they definitely are looking to do something on that front to at least hold back the stem of gamer anger, I guess, for a little while.
It's going to be an interesting 2018, and was certainly an interesting 2017 in the world of gaming. And to sum that up, we do have our top lists to end the year up on the site. Now, I'm not going to... What was that? Somebody... Whew.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
It was a heck of a year.
I thought you were impressed by that segue. So we do have, I'm not going to go through our entire list. Don't want to spoil it for you. Head on over to mmobomb.com. We've got a number of lists. We do want to touch on some of them here. So I figured let's start with a fun one. Let's start with our top 10 free-to-play news stories of 2017. And we're going to skip over some of the stuff we've already talked about, like the loot boxes. Obviously, that's a big part of our list. I think we could kind of skip Fortnite and Battle Royale going back and forth, since we've talked about Epic quite a bit. Marvel Heroes we've talked about quite a bit. So I want to skip those big ones, but there are a couple things that I just think are funny, and I want to get your take on. One that I kind of advocated to be added to the list here, of course, Amazon Game Studios. I mean, we heard all these things from 2 years ago, Troy. this Breakaway
Yeah.
and New World and this, and then John Smedley joined, and then Craig Sullivan joined, and some of the Guild Wars 2 people joined, and Portal people joined, and it was just getting, oh my God, this is going to be great, this is going to be great, this is going to be great. And Breakaway may not have been everybody's cup of tea, being more sports and esports oriented. We were all but 100% sure that the damn thing was going to be free to play. We had screenshots of Facebook ads before they got yanked. We had developers privately telling us, and you know what? I'm not even afraid to disclose this anymore. We had developers privately tell us that it was going to be free to play, and then upon a little further questioning or 1 or 2 emails in that chain, that would get yanked and redacted and said, hey, we're not ready to release that yet. The damn thing was going to be free to play. It had to be based on, but then it disappeared. That's Amazon's first big step into the game world with this new studio that's spending a ton of money, Troy. First big project, yanked off the board. And we haven't heard dick about anything else, New World or any of that stuff. That's not looking too good for Amazon Game Studios, is it?
Not to go from what was looking like was going to be like a big, huge entry for the development team into video games, MMOs, everything that they were going to be looking into. I mean, for God's sake, they made their own game engine. And they put together this big studio, and you pull together names like John Smedley, and say what you will about Smed, he's a known name in the industry that drew some attention to them when they announced that.
And I'm sure it didn't come cheap.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely not. But just to see from all that, where you were like, yes, this is like seriously, like Amazon's behind it. They've got this game engine, they've got Smedley, they've got all these plans. This is going to be a big deal. They're going to, go all in on this. And then all of a sudden, it's just gone. And it's just of all the companies to just have stuff just float away in the wind. That's not one I would have been expecting, to just have stuff go away like that. So it's surprising, very surprising that all that's just kind of backburnered. And I don't know at this point, or do any of us think we're going to see anything from them going forward?
I think you're going to see New World personally, but I don't think it's going to be what people probably thought it was 2 years ago. I think it's going to be more it's probably been pushed more towards the PUBG type.
No, because that's what Crucible is.
Well, yeah,
Crucible is PUBG.
Right. I'm not talking about as in the gameplay. I don't think it's going to be the sandbox that everybody thought of when they saw the stuff 2 years ago. I think it's going to be more defined and rigid gameplay than that. And then, yeah, Crucible being their actual PUBG, we'll have to see. I don't have a lot of faith in either of them anymore. I really don't. I think we'll see one of the two. Probably New World, but yeah, you see, even I feel uncomfortable saying that. Even
yeah, it's like I talked about, the last time with all the different games coming out.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're going to talk about in a bit here. So I have my like little, the games that shut down or whatever. Yeah, Master X Master, Cloud Pirates. We're going to get into Amazing Eternals being another one. All these games that companies are coming out with, maybe they're getting a short launch in the case of a couple of them, or if they're like Amazing Eternals, don't even get that far.
Get a launch, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing, is so many of these games I think are just, they're real. It's to the point where you can't just throw a ton of money at a game and hope that it'll be successful, because a lot of games are already very firmly entrenched in that space. I mentioned in my thing, when I talk about Master X Master, I talk about something like Heroes of the Storm, which is not really going anywhere, because the mobile market is just what it is right now. And it's really hard to break into that. Now with PUBG and with Fortnite, the Battle Royale game, it's not something you can just throw a multi-million-dollar AAA game into and think it's going to compete. Yeah, PUBG is still janky, even though it's officially launched or whatever. Fortnite, it's whatever. It's still kind of an open beta or whatever, so it's not really done. But they're hugely popular. Yep. And just throwing a bunch of names and a bunch of money at it isn't going to necessarily get you in, which is what probably Blizzard tried to do with MOBAs, with Heroes of the Storm. So, yeah, I really think they have to be rethinking everything that they're working on right now, and it is question. I agree with you. I think New World could still come out, but Crucible, I think, really, really goes under. Really gets the new treatment, or doesn't come out at all.
Yep. Jason, which of the news stories, we'll do it this way, since I did one, we covered 2 or 3, which of the news stories did you particularly like from 2017
what the hell
on
did
our
I
list?
Write? What is this?
That way we don't reveal the whole list. We still entice people to go read the damn list.
I still love the issues with Artifact, the Valve's card game.
you did love that one.
What is it, like 71,000 to 4,000? I think is the dislike to like ratio now on YouTube.
God.
Oh man, talk about games that should probably never be released.
Right, I was just gonna ask. All right, same question. Does it actually come out?
Man, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Whoever's at Valve just be like, nope. Nice idea, but no.
Troy, what about you? Your favorite from the list?
I'm still shocked and amazed. This is like the second or third time this year I've been reminded of this, but the fact that Firefall closed this year,
yeah,
that still gets me every time.
It feels like it was so long ago.
I guess because we quit playing so long ago, but just like this is like I said, this is like the second or third time it's been brought up to me this year that it closed this year, and I'm like, no, that closed in like 2015.
The last time I played that game was on a stream with Gary Gannon.
Oh my god!
And some other Game Breaker peeps. That's how long ago that was.
Okay, it wasn't that long for me. I played with Spunkify on a Bomb Live. So there you go. So that was been about 2013.
That gives you a hint at some of the top news stories on the 2017 list. Go check it out. Also, while you're there, we've got the top 5 most anticipated free-to-play games of 2018. Now, I'm going to spoil this list for you only because Jason decided he was going to tweak me once again in the damn article about Phantasy Star Online 2. I hate you. Obviously, we didn't put them in any particular order. It was just, here's some 5 games. Ascent, Infinite Realm, I don't think any of us disagrees with that. We may not think it'll go anywhere. It'll be so not focused that it'll be impossible to play for any meaningful length of time or add in some Korean grindy stuff. But Ascent, Infinite Realm, I think definitely deserves to be there, Troy. Everybody thumbs up. That deserves to be most anticipated. Sure. All right, moving on. Magic the Gathering Arena. Having Magic Origins struck down and Magic the Gathering coming back. Not to say anything of Perfect World Entertainment's Magic the Gathering MMO, which we don't know anything about. I think this is probably highly anticipated too, especially with what we've seen from it. Yeah?
Sure.
Yeah, for a CCG, this is the name that has a chance, in all honesty.
I mean, even look at something like we talk about Eternal every now and then. Even that gets like 1,500 concurrent users on Steam. So Eternal is basically Magic, so it should do all right too.
Project Nova, which you'd be, excused if you've totally forgotten about this one, even though we're putting it on the most anticipated. This is CCP's kind of spiritual successor to Dust 514. Definitely think that's anticipated. Project TL, which is Lineage Eternal. That's been anticipated for multiple years. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But the number one, especially on Troy Blackburn's list, Bless Online, finally coming to America in 2018 via Steam, 7 years after initially announced. Very excited audience for that particular game still, which could see Bless and Ascent, Infinite Realms, kind of going up against each other to see who takes the lion's share. But I think, all in all, great list, Troy, including Bless Online, your most anticipated title of 2018, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait. So looking forward to it.
It's much better than Cats. You're going to play it again and again.
Mm-hmm.
He's so thrilled by Bless. Oh, my God.
Can't wait till I'm right.
Now, on that
wait till I'm right.
On that list, we do encourage you to go and vote for your most anticipated. The polls are, of course, open on that one for what? I think another few days, Jason?
I think they might actually be closed. Hang on.
I can still vote.
Okay, well, all right then.
Yeah, I took my vote. Right now...
you voted for Bless, of course, right?
Well, right now, Bless is winning. I voted for Ascent. Of course
it is.
I vote for...
Oh, my God.
I voted for Ascent Infinite Realm. I like airships. I do want to see that one kind of focus a little more. It seems kind of scattershot all over the board there as far as what you do in-game. Hopefully, we'll see a narrowed focus when we get to see more of the game. And then, of course, we give out our awards for the good, the bad, and the ugly of free-to-play gaming this year. Again, I don't want to reveal them all. So, Jason, give us your favorite from the list.
I already kind of went into it. Yeah, the Hello Goodbye Award for games that came out and then closed down over the course of the year.
Yeah, within the year. That's important.
Yeah, if you missed it, if you blinked, you missed them. So.
And who took those?
Master X Master and Cloud Pirates. It was a tie.
We had a tie.
There was an extensive voting session for this. We talked to the panel. It took them days to come out. Eventually, some white smoke came out of the chimney. and we had like 2 winners.
Troy, your favorite from that?
The third Retraction is the Charm Award.
I love that award.
And Atlas Reactor, a game that I actually enjoy. Like Atlas Reactor is really unique, and I do like that.
Which
game
I gave
quite a
you
bit.
shit about on Twitter. You were like, "How come I didn't like it? I didn't know it was this good." And I was like, "That's because the game didn't know what it wanted to be."
That's right.
My favorite from the list, we'll use it for the segue here, and it is my favorite, was the Truly Expanding Expansion Award, which was also a tie between Warframe's Plains of Eidolon expanding into a whole new open world aspect that I hope Digital Extremes continues to explore, and Path of Exile Fall of Orieth, which added so many new acts and everything. There's also Back from the Grave and Hello Goodbye Combined Award. I'm not going to spoil that. Head on over to MMOBomb.com. Check out all those lists. And speaking of Warframe, let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. And in the holiday spirit, we have all chosen dub bombs. Mine goes to Warframe. I am still addicted to it. I'm closing it. I'm so close to Mastery Rank 10. Still really, really enjoying the game. And some of the weapons are just absolutely incredible. Loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it. Can't recommend it enough, particularly if you're sick of Deprestiny. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, since I wrote this right after doing the awards piece, I took it simple too, and also gave it a bomb to Path of Exile for being something that I got into. Didn't think I would, but I'm still playing it pretty well. I'm up to Act 8 now. Hopefully this way I'll actually know what I'm talking about when I do the next interview with Chris Wilson in a few months. I can actually sound halfway intelligent. He's going to be so surprised that I know what I'm talking about with some of this stuff. He's going to be amazed.
Go ahead, Troy.
I'm going to give a dub bomb to a game that Mr. Winter just got done pooping on a little bit. Heroes of the Storm. Dude, for a long time now, when people ask me about that game, my number one complaint was the camera's too close. It feels too claustrophobic. With a big update to several systems within the game came a zooming out of the camera by 10 or 15%, and I was 100% right. That is the difference between me liking the game and not being able to stand playing the game. I'm absolutely, over the holidays, the past 2 weeks, have been addicted to Heroes of the Storm. I'm enjoying myself. Dub bomb, Blizzard, Heroes of the Storm. It's about freaking time.
From the viewers, 3 dub bombs for you. There you go. And all different games, too. Whew. It is Christmas. It's Christmas miracle. From the viewers, Marcus says, "We are happy Zach is back." We're happy too. You know, sometimes the schooling takes precedence and we have to work around that. Go ahead, Jason.
Luca Dornjak says, "Dev-Bomb to Warframe Digital Extremes. In the new update, we got a new room on our ship, and I was kind of meh. It's not worth the time spent. As soon as I went in there was a hidden prologue to an upcoming quest, and it blew my mind. DE really knows how to get their fans hyped up and happy until the real update comes. Good job, DE."
Nice. Go ahead, Troy.
Honeycat. I actually like Cards Unbound.
Talking
And Paladins, you know, oh, my honey.
That's what Honeycat's referring to.
Honeycats. Oh, goodness me. Oh, wow.
Peppermint, why aren't you guys putting up new giveaways? Which really confuses me because there's 3 new ones in the last 13 days and 2 more coming in the next week. So I guess the question or the answer to your "why aren't you guys putting up new giveaways" question, Peppermint, is click the giveaways tab. I don't know. Maybe you're not seeing them. I don't know. Jason, go ahead.
Bizad BZ says, "This hurts me to say my favorite MMORPG of all time, but they deserve it. A-bomb to SWTOR for charging people $15 to buy a one-time use black die. Shame on you, EA." Well, they got to get that Battlefront microtransaction money somehow, so they go to the other Star Wars game.
Did you pay for the Santa hat skin? Is that what that is there?
No, I got this out of a loot box.
Go ahead, Troy.
That hat cost me $5 in Guild Wars 2. Hey, Drake Sky Shadow, it's close enough to Christmas, so here you go. Dub bomb to you, the free-to-play cast. I've always enjoyed your content, but recently I was hit by nostalgia and decided to watch some old stuff, cartoons, movies, and even the earlier free-to-play cast, and it's honestly amazing. You have improved so much. It is really commendable. While the older episodes are good, the new ones are better, in my opinion. You are all so much more comfortable with giving your opinions or jokes. You have a point to give to the viewers, and you don't dismiss any of their ideas. You are the perfect 50% information, 50% jokes, but 100% entertainment. Thank you, and happy holidays.
Hydrex, that is most kind of you, and it is certainly appreciated. And yeah, we don't dismiss anybody's comments because most of the time you guys know better than we do. And jokes, I don't know. I mean, Jason sometimes brings the jokes, but whatever. CyberPython says, I think the Paladin's changes is really bad. So CyberPython and this would actually, I want to see a CyberPython fight a honeycat. I want to see that. Not like them, the YouTube users, but a CyberPython and a honeycat. Since they're on opposite sides of Cards Unbound, I want to see that fight. Go ahead, Jason.
You put them in an RNG box and let's get them.
Go ahead, Jason.
By the way, I looked it up, and the Santa hat in Guild Wars 2 is actually 150 gems, so that's about $2.
Oh,
so there you go.
Oh, it's on sale.
Okay. Anyway, back to the stream. Let's see. Okay. Marko Zikovic says, whoever thinks the new system that's coming for Paladins is a good thing, and that it's whoever thinks it's a good thing and not so bad, obviously didn't play on the public test server at all or watch any of the streamers that did. No one in their right mind would think this is good for the game. The system is horrible. Grinding for cards is worse than in Hearthstone. In an FPS game, and that's without thinking about new champions that will come in the future. They are delaying the update and trying to make changes to reduce the grind for more testing. There's nothing to test. Just by reading, you could see it clear as day that this is the dumbest thing implemented yet. I love Paladins, great community, great devs. I loved it because Hi-Rez is constantly listening to their player base. We're listening to feedback. When I saw the patch preview stream, I was shocked and very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. Excuse me, he has two veries there. I want to make sure we get that in. No one wants this. Even though the patch is not out yet, you can already see the numbers on Steam went down. Streamers are pissed and already thinking about finding some other game. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm sorry for the long text. I am very sad.
Marco, there's a lot of people sad with you. And I hate this, by the way. Let me say this to you two gentlemen here. I hate when something like this or the Star Wars Battlefront 2 happens and they're, well, we can tweak the grind a little bit. We could tweak... I already saw your intent.
Yeah, again, it's like I said, they're trying things. They're experimenting
intent.
to see what they can get away with. That's all it is.
It's not about, I'm not bitching about the grind. Fixing that as if, no. I saw your intent, and your intent was clear. It was to try and make it as uncomfortable as possible to entice a purchase. Then when I got pissed, you'll give me a couple extra credits or a couple extra gold. I saw your intent. That's what I care about. You.
And then you tried to tell us it was to bring the player base together in the game modes and make game modes more interesting and diverse to give a reason to play the two. And then you patch in a third game mode, which just further separates your player base into more groups. And it's just not even accomplishing the BS excuse you used to try to implement this. So, yeah, this is just terrible all around.
We're gouging you, but it's for the players.
Yeah, right. Well, we heard you. We're going to reduce the grind. No, you wanted that grind. You're just being forced to take it. I saw what you wanted to do.
You wanted to sell me progression.
Right.
Let's be real.
Our question of the week last show was, give us your take on Epic Games taking some people to court. Would you have done it? And Multikiller Joe says, I hate hackers in games. You ruin the game for everyone else just because you cannot be legit. Also, Epic Games needs to boost up their client hack protection. Fortnite Battle Royale is pretty popular and has more players than Unknown Battlegrounds since it's free, so that should be a slap in the face. You need to update anti-cheating software, but I love Fortnite, so that's my take on it. Screw cheaters. And I was first to comment. Congratulations, Multikiller Joe.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, getting the old first in there. But you know what? I feel good. I feel good, and I'm proud of Multikiller Joe because it wasn't just first. Multikiller Joe found a way to get it in there organically. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, but if he knew where he was, he would have said mounted. But
True.
Whatever happened to that? Actually, I don't ask. I'm kind of glad.
No.
All right, James.
Shit, I can already see the comments this week.
Yeah, I know. That was just for you, man. Just for you. James Esparza says, question of the week. With all the controversy that's been going on over the last month or so, Epic's ordeal does not seem as big as it would be if it were all clear skies out there. He's got a point. It's like with all the other crap and loot boxes and Rift and this and that, it's like, well, yeah, whatever, hackers in court. I personally would have looked into the situation a bit more thoroughly and contacted those individuals beforehand to inform them of the gravity of the situation. But nonetheless, when someone's mom gets involved, you know you're going to be provided with some quality real-life entertainment. Fun fact, though, nonetheless is one word.
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed, that is a fun fact. That is a fun fact.
It's not really fun. It's a fact, but I don't think it's that fun.
And I do agree. Anytime somebody's mom gets called, shit's about to go down. Go ahead, Troy.
Mike, where's your hat?
Yeah, and I don't.
Yeah,
have
Mike,
a
come on.
hat.
Come on, bro.
The hat. Sorry, I didn't buy the skins. I don't care about that cosmetic shit. Go ahead, Troy.
Neo Phantom, question of the week. As a company, I would actually use the money they spent on legal actions to pay for making counter codes in-game to patch vulnerability used by cheaters instead. Using the banhammer is only temporary solution. Yes, they will find other ways, but that's what doing business on the internet is. Always be on your toes, always anticipate and adapt to new vulnerabilities when they show up. I don't like cheaters in online games either, but legal actions is definitely not the way.
Soulcard brings up a point, and I want to also bring up, there was another YouTube commenter, Blackwood, that put some of these thoughts and a few more in there. Blackwood, your comment was just too long for me to read, and I didn't want to dice it and take anything out of context the way you had it written. So similar view expressed in Soulcard's comment here that Blackwood said, I think Epic did the right thing. As mentioned, they initially only sought to strike the videos promoting the cheats and hacks. Ideally, the hacker would know that they did something wrong and move on to other videos or accounts, but because they tried to dispute the content strike, they forced Epic's hand. Otherwise, Epic sets a precedent of condoning or endorsing the use of cheats and hacks in the game by permitting the advertisement of them. You can't claim to be against gambling while letting a casino install a slot machine on your front lawn. This next comment is the one that Blackwood also brought up. Frankly, I'm a bit disappointed in the whole they should have spent their time doing X zero-sum fallacy that Zach was spewing. Lawyers do the court stuff. Coders do the programming stuff. Is he implying that there is some lawyer/coder at Epic who couldn't have been working on coding out exploits because he was too busy suing people in court? I see your point, both Blackwood and Soulcard. I think Zach was more looking at it as a resource, aka money investment, because unless you win in court, until you win in court here in the States, the cost is all on you, brother. And so I think Zach was more talking to that. But yeah, I do see your point too, that it certainly doesn't pull anybody from Epic Games off the computer to go to court. Jason, go ahead, finish it up.
Alexis J says, scare tactics that are mindless that won't really result in anything. I have to disagree with this entirely. Having real repercussions for these actions will make people take a step back and see if they want to risk cheating in these games. Being banned is not a real repercussion, especially in a free game. Make into account at that point and do it again. Going to court for illegal activity and paying fines is real. Like in my workplace, you can warn employees that they need to do certain things because it's required for their job all you want, but until you actually show them that they can lose their job if they don't, they make no effort to change.
So Alexis disagreeing with some of our points on the whole. This is just a waste of time. And Alexis, maybe you're right. Maybe you're absolutely right. And it leads to a better place for Epic Games there. Our question of the week for this week, tell us about your favorite holiday gaming gift that you either gave to somebody or you received from somebody this year. And we all know Troy's was his pair of pants. So he could game in comfort. But tell us about yours in the comments below. And while you're there, make sure you give us your dub bomb or a bomb, your bomb of the week, something good, something bad, your question for the panel. You know what? Whatever the hell you want to put there in the comments, just go ahead and put it. Maybe we'll read it on the show. Until then, Jason, where can everybody find you, sir?
I want to say I gave the girlfriend a Steam card. So everyone's involved in a Steam card somehow or another.
See, you know what's up.
You can find me on Twitter at WinterInformal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter. I got Stardew Valley now.
Oh, and a potato peeler.
That was actually a Christmas present for me. Someone gave me Stardew Valley. So.
Oh, nice.
Troy.
I'd appreciate a follow on Twitch and Twitter. They're both Noob Fridge. Thank you. Happy holidays. Have a safe New Year.
I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magicman. You can follow me personally right there on Twitter at MagicMan1. But more importantly, while you're there, follow at MMO Bomb so you get tweets on all the news, lists, polls, giveaways, first look videos, free-to-play casts, and everything more that we put up on the site every day. Until, are we going to have a show next week? We'll see. Stay safe. See you on the servers.
Somebody make good news.
Right, yeah. It's going to be news dependent. Because there ain't much out there right now.